only mode. Oh, do I?
I accidentally already have it on air, but we can just take a few more minutes, but we can mute ourselves later. Sorry, guys. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for today's webinar in our DAAD webinar series. And today we're talking about career opportunities in the humanities and the Berlin, Munich, or Ruhr region. And I'm very happy that today I have two of my colleagues from the New York office with me. Peter Rosenbaum is the executive director of the University Alliance Ruhr, and part of that alliance are the University Duisburg-Essen, the Ruhr University Bochum, and also the Technical University Dortmund. And with us also we have Katja Simons, who's the executive director of the German University Alliance. And the German University Alliance represents the Free University Berlin and also the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich. So we have two representatives here, but actually quite a number of universities where you can study and research in Germany. Welcome, Peter and Katja. Thank you for joining me today for this webinar.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. We'll hear a lot more from Peter and Katja later on. Today's agenda looks like this. First, I just want to briefly talk to you about DAAD and the scholarships and grants that are available to you if you want to study or research in Germany at the universities we talk about today. First, we're going to talk about the University Alliance Ruhr, and then the second part of the presentation, we will have the German University Alliance talk about the Free University Berlin and also the LMU Munich. And then at the very end, we will have plenty of time to answer your questions. But before we begin the presentation, I just wanted to get over some housekeeping. So first of all, I'm recording this webinar, so you will be able to listen to it later, or you'll be able to just listen to it again or share it with some friends or colleagues. And I will also upload the presentation later in our archive. And of course, you'll be able to get in touch with us. You're all muted at the moment, but you can get in touch with me and with the representatives here using this question box in your GoToWebinar tool panel. You can actually already download the two handouts in the handout section. You can just click on it. It will download as a PDF. But again, I will also upload that in our archive, and I will send a follow-up email with a link to that. So you will also be able to download that later. Now, just a few words about DAAD. DAAD represents higher education abroad and is really your go-to source if you have general questions about studying or doing research in Germany. And we do provide scholarships and grants available to academics at all stages and in all fields. And important is also to note that DAAD is available to students with or without U.S. citizenship. So if you're applying to the DAAD USA grants, you can be an international student as long as you're a full-time student or you've received a degree from a U.S. or Canadian institution. You're eligible to apply for DAAD funding. If you happen to listen from outside of the US or Canada, there is funding available through the other offices. You can check our DAAD.de website for the office that's closest to where you are at the moment. I don't want to spend too much time on the funding that's available. I just briefly want to mention that we do have the study scholarship available to individuals who want to pursue a master's degree in Germany, a full master's degree, or if you would like to just spend 1 year at a graduate school in Germany while you pursue a degree here in the US. You can apply if you're an undergraduate student in the US or Canada and you're currently senior. but you can also apply to this scholarship up to 6 years after graduation. Again, this is available to students in all fields, and the level of German that's required depends on the level of German that's required by the study program, and Katja and Peter will talk about that later. And then the second opportunity is available to students who want to pursue some research opportunities in Germany. It's available to excellent bachelor graduates and also to graduate students and PhD candidates, but also postdocs who are interested in pursuing short-term or long-term research. Again, available for all academic fields. Level of German depends on the level of German that's required for you to do your research in Germany. And with that, I just wanted to leave you with our contact information. DAAD.org is our website for the US. Canada has their own website. I didn't mention that here, but if you just Google DAAD Canada, you will get to the page specifically for our Canadian listeners. And with that, I would like to hand over the microphone to Peter, who will talk about the University Alliance Ruhr.
Thank you very much, Hanni, and welcome everybody. My name is Peter Rosenbaum. I'm the Executive Director of the University Alliance Ruhr office here in New York. And I would like to tell you a little bit about our 3 universities in the Ruhr area and introduce you to just a few programs that you might find interesting. There are many, many more, and part of my presentation that you can download, that's available as a PDF, will also list more resources for you to check out. And you can always call me, shoot me an email if you have any questions, and we might be able to address a couple of issues and questions you might have during Q&A. On to our first slide. The Ruhr area is a part of Germany that is a little bit like Pittsburgh. It's a region, it's Europe's 3rd largest metropolitan region, as a matter of fact, that used to be Europe's blue-collar heartland with coal mines and steel factories. And all of that has changed a couple of decades ago. It's now an area where you find a lot of high-tech companies and research hubs, and you know, that's what these 3 images visualize. So it's an area that has made a transition from coal mining, steel to knowledge-based industries. If you are into soccer, it's the home of really famous soccer teams like BVB and FC Schalke 04. I mentioned that it's one of Europe's largest metropolitan areas, and what you might find interesting is that it's also one of Germany's most multi-ethnic areas, precisely because people used to flock to this part of the country to work in the coal mines, and they stayed behind. They came from all over the continent. So you really find folks from more than 150 nations in the Ruhr area of Germany. It is an area that is very conveniently located. You can easily reach other European capitals by train or by plane. The 3 universities in this Ruhr area, the 3 big universities, are the universities of Duisburg, Essen, Dortmund, and Bochum. And if you take us together, we represent one of Germany's biggest academic hubs with 125,000 students, close to 600 degree programs, of which 62 are international degree programs and 17 joint graduate programs. We have 3 offices abroad. I mentioned the New York office already, of which I'm the director. We have an office in Moscow and one in Brazil. And it's our mission to initiate research collaborations, promote faculty and student exchange, and reach out to alumni. In terms of our research areas within the humanities, we are particularly strong in religious studies, in educational science, and in language studies, as well as East Asia studies and art. The Ruhr area is not just a former heavy industry area now transitioned to high tech, but it's also an area with a lot of art collections, partly because companies invested a lot of money in their communities. So you actually find a lot of really good museums and cultural institutions in the Ruhr area of Germany. Why would you want to study there? First of all three universities that formed an alliance 10 years ago, it's a little bit like the University of California system, are known for their high academic standards and excellent reputation. You can easily cross-register for courses at either one of our 4 campuses. So it's 3 universities, 4 campuses, and each one of them are like 20 minutes apart from each other. I mentioned that it's, the Ruhr area is Europe's 3rd largest metropolitan area with a vibrant art, music, and theater scenes. We have great sports programs, and it also is, which you might find interesting, a very affordable area. So living expenses in Dortmund, for example, the biggest city in the Ruhr area, is about 650 euros, which is about $800 per month, and that includes health insurance. I will skip over the application and admission details. You can look at that just to remind you that a master's degree usually takes about 4 semesters in Germany, and a PhD degree 3 to 5 years. And one of the big differences at German universities is that you usually do not have to take additional classes towards the PhD, but once you actually have a graduate degree such as an MA, you can immediately come up with an abstract of your dissertation, get it approved by your committee, and then start writing. But again, if you have questions about that, we can talk about this a little bit later. I want to introduce you to campus life in Dortmund, Bochum, and Duisburg-Essen. We have excellent libraries that are open until very late, international offices that also help you with your careers, to do career counseling, dining on campus, sports clubs, all of that you are familiar with already. That's pretty much comparable to American universities. You, as part of your registration fee at one of our universities, you get a semester ticket that gets you around the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. I mentioned already you can easily travel between campuses, and you can also reach other European destinations from Düsseldorf or Frankfurt airports. On to one program that we are particularly proud of. It's the Urban Systems MA. It is an interdisciplinary program that you can finish in 2 years, and it is a program that is designed for folks in the humanities, either, be it English majors, be it urban studies majors. You can take this program if you're interested in, to put it simply, the future of the city. What will the city of the future look like? This program allows you to approach this topic from various angles. So it starts out with an introduction to urban systems. It covers topics such as urban culture, society, sustainable urban technology. And the 4th semester is basically the semester when you want to start writing your master's thesis. The requirements for that program are English level C1, which I'm sure won't be a problem for most of you, but you also need to know German at a fairly advanced level. Another program I would like to mention is the MA program in International Culture and Business Studies with a focus on English language. This is a program that is particularly interesting for those of you who want to be administrators in museums, for example, who want to work for cultural institutions in a managerial position. This program prepares you for these types of jobs, and most classes are actually offered in English, so you only need to know basic German at a fairly, at an A1 or A2 level. And it's a program that is also, like all of our programs, tuition free. You only pay a semester activity fee of 280 euros, which is about $350. on to the third program I want to introduce real quickly, and this is a summer program in German and European studies, and we also offer an engineering track. If you are interested in both the humanities and STEM sciences, it's a program that runs over 2 months, and you will learn German as part of that program and then take classes in your field of specialization in English. So we offer classes on European politics, German society, etc. This is a program that is usually open to students from our partner universities, but if you're interested and your university is not yet a partner university, we'd be happy to take you on board as a guest student. And the fourth program, real quickly, is a program for those of you who might be interested in doing a PhD at one of our universities. It's a very interdisciplinary field, transformation of contemporary societies. And this is a research area and PhD program that very much focuses on social science infrastructures, economics, business, political sciences, humanities, and other disciplines. It is a program that connects with other programs we have, also with humanitarian aid programs. I'd be happy to tell you more about this program. I'm slowly running out of time. And I do want to point out a couple of institutes that we have to support your studies, your graduate studies. It is the Institute for Advanced Study in the Humanities. They give grants and scholarships and also enable you to connect with experts in your field. And we have the Kita Hamburger Kolleg, a Center for Global Cooperation Research. Again, also a center that just announced a couple of fellowships. So if you're interested, I'd be happy to forward you the call for applications, and you can apply for a fellowship at that institute. This was my alarm clock, and I'm turning it off right now, and want to thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, we can talk about it during Q&A, or send me an email or give me a phone call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. So this is a reminder to everyone listening. If you already have questions, feel free to type them in, and I will collect them later on for the Q&A. And we're now going to listen to Katja talk about the Free University Berlin and LMU Munich.
Hi, everyone from New York City. My name is Katja Simons, and I'm the director of the German University Alliance, the joint liaison office of Freie Universität Berlin and LMU München. And let's start with a look at Germany so you can locate Berlin and Munich. You can see Berlin up there in the northeast and Munich in the south in Bavaria. And now let's have a look at our website. That's the German universities.org website. Please meet 2 top universities, 2 amazing cities. Both universities are consistently top-ranked universities in Germany and Europe, and both cities are among the top 4 best university cities worldwide. And also with regards to rankings in arts and humanities, if you look at Times Higher Education's World University Rankings according to subjects, you will see that LMU and Freie Universität Berlin are top ranked for the arts and humanities. Worldwide, they are among the top 25 universities, and in Germany among the top 3. And now let's have a look at pathways to studying humanities. So you can know how you can get started in Berlin or Munich, or how your students can get started, since I saw that several advisors also signed up for this webinar. Before I speak a bit more about getting a full degree abroad, either as an undergrad or a graduate student, I would like to mention various options for study abroad in the humanities. There's direct exchange, of course, in case your university has a partnership with either Freie Universität or LMU. If you're a study abroad advisor and you're interested in exploring new opportunities or partnerships with us, please feel free to email me after the webinar. We also have semester and year-long programs, and I'll ask you just to look at our website under Study Abroad or get in touch with me after the webinar. But let's look at the summer programs briefly. Spending the summer in Berlin or in Munich while meeting people from all over the world and earning credits is a great idea. FUBIS is a summer program at Freie Universität. They offer 2 terms in the summer, including German language classes, as well as subject classes in the humanities and the social sciences, both in English and in German, and they also have a multi-city course in European studies. And MISU offers summer academies in various subjects, also in the natural and sciences and medicine and law, but today I'd like to point out the postgraduate summer school in history of European art and art history. And you can see that there's still some time to apply. And if you're planning to study for a full degree, my office can guide you through the process. Have a look at our website under degree programs and also under bachelor degrees. And there you can see what the eligibility criteria are, as well as more details on the application process. Please note, all undergraduate degrees, degree programs at Freie Universität Berlin and at LMU are offered in German, with the exception of the North American Studies program at Freie Universität Berlin. But we have on the undergraduate level, we have a lot more programs in English, and the same is true for Germany in general. There are less programs offered in English. On the bachelor level, we have around 200 in Germany and only 50 in the humanities. And on the master and graduate level, we have thousands, over 1,200 programs in English. And that's the same is true for Berlin and Munich. And you can look at more details also on the application process on this website, or also on the long version of our slides that are posted online, like Hannigeist mentioned earlier. So let's have a look at Berlin. In a nutshell, Freie Universität Berlin is a highly international university. Of the 30,000 students, we have around 20% international students on a master level and around 30 on the doctoral level. And we are a full spectrum university comprising of 12 departments, 4 central institutes that together offer more than 150 different academic programs in a broad range of disciplines. And we have 3 central institutes in area studies, American studies, then East European studies and Latin American studies. FU Berlin has the broadest range of subjects in history and cultural studies in Germany, and cutting-edge excellence in international area studies, as I mentioned here, on cultures and civilizations in regions around the world. Here I'm showing you Freie Universität's research profile, especially in interdisciplinary innovative fields that pool together major scientific and academic core competencies in research. And as you can see, humanities are part of many of these focus areas. We have health and quality of life, we have transregional relations, cultural dynamics, and so on. Let's have a quick look at one of these areas and take transregional relations. It's a field that looks at global governance, cultural transfer, transformation, area studies, international human rights. You can see that various departments, graduate schools, research units are part of this research endeavor, making it truly interdisciplinary. I will now show you master and doctoral programs in the humanities that are offered in English at FU. And you can see that the application deadline is coming up end of May. We have English studies, we have global history, intellectual encounters of the Islamicate world, North American studies, and sociology. Not really part of humanities, but I'm mentioning it anyhow. And then we have doctoral programs. This is just a part of all the programs, since I'm focusing here on the humanities, and also on those, only on those that are offered in English. And for several of those programs, we have a call coming up in the winter, and just a few days ahead, there's a deadline for the Berlin Graduate School of Ancient Studies and also scholarships available. And finally, I'd like to mention the DAAD Humanities Center, the first and only of its kind in Germany. Its main goal is to identify and to investigate new trends in the humanities and to foster interdisciplinary research, both on a local and an international level, and also enhancing the invisibility of the humanities in the general public is one of its missions. With its DAAD Junior Host Program, the DAAD Humanities Center supports young researchers who would like to invite guest researchers from abroad to Freie Universität Berlin. So if you know somebody in the humanities, you can mention this program to them and say that you're interested in visiting the Freie Universität Berlin. And now I'm actually going to LMU Munich. Let's move on to the south of Germany, present you Ludwig Maximilians Universität München in a little bit more detail. So LMU Munich has a long outstanding tradition and is almost 550 years old. LMU has a classical academic profile. The university is divided into 18 faculties, enjoys one of Germany's finest library system. And LMU is even bigger than or larger than FU Berlin with over 50,000 students, and 16 come from abroad. And now let's have a look at the research profile in the humanities. You can see under focus areas and areas of high potential, those research areas that are very strong at LMU in the humanities. You have ancient studies, area studies with an emphasis on Eastern Europe, globalization and art production. We have pre-modernity and early modernity, as well as environment and society. And in all these areas, we have graduate schools and lots of research going on. Let's have a look at the master programs here again. Here's a selection of master programs offered in English with upcoming application deadlines: American history, English studies, logic, and philosophy of science. Next, I'm highlighting several doctoral programs, and you can find a list of all those programs on the website of the LMU's Graduate Center. Some of these programs, you can see in red here, have upcoming deadlines, like the program in Buddhist Studies, the Graduate School of Language and Literature, with a focus also on American history and the transformations in European societies. And the long versions of my presentation also includes information about a postdoc fellowship, since we mentioned in the beginning that some of you already have a PhD or are actually concluding it soon. A quick spotlight on the doctoral program, Environment and Society. I'd like to mention this one since it has a truly interdisciplinary focus. Researchers from various disciplines, including the humanities, here explore the nature, culture, and environment interface, and you can apply by by May and November. I have to mention that there's no scholarship available, so I'd like to advise you to look at DAAD's short or long-term research grant that Hanni Geist from DAAD mentioned in the beginning of the presentations. And now I'd come to an end, but just want to highlight our student stories page. We have several stories from students who've been to Berlin, to Munich, and they might inspire you or your students to come and study with us. So all in all, we have excellent options at LMU Munich and FU Berlin. Please stay in touch. We are on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always call me or email me. And now, thanks for your interest. And now I would like to hand over to Hanni Geist.
Thank you, Katja. That was just a very brief introduction of the universities, but as both Peter and Katja mentioned, feel free to download the handout and also visit their websites for more detailed information on the degree programs and also the universities. I would like to invite all attendees now to type in all the questions that you have. And first, I would like to start with a few questions that I'm sure will interest all attendees as well. And that's really a question to both of you. And that will be like for international students in particular, where are they after graduation? Do you have any insight of You mentioned, Katja, at the end that there are some student stories on your website, but could you and Peter briefly talk about where your alumni are now, and especially international students? And that's, I guess, an additional question of how easy is it for international students to actually stay in Germany after graduation? Katja, do you want to start?
Yeah, so we have, as you heard, we are big universities, so we have a lot of alumni who work in all kinds of fields, and we have people who work in Germany, but also people who've traveled abroad, work in multinational companies or in non-profits or in all kinds of areas. It's hard to pin it down, but you can see also on our website, on the student stories site, that there are some American or Canadian students who've been at our universities who've also landed jobs then in Germany. And so there are also legal possibilities to stay in Germany and to get a job. And I think you have some time after graduation to find a job. And then if you find it, you can also get a legal residence permit.
Mm-hmm.
Same applies to the Ruhr universities, and we actually have like 1 or 2 fellowship programs through which we got students who went to the Ruhr area for 2 months in the summer to actually come back after they graduated to work for one of our multinational companies in the area or for cultural institutions. So there are 2 or 3 Harvard grads to move back to the Ruhr area to work both in STEM fields, but also one person works in a more humanities related field, and the working visa is usually not a big issue at all once the company or the organization is interested in a candidate.
Okay, and then a follow-up question to that. So you mentioned that at all of those universities, the programs are available in English. And then the question would be for international students, are there possibilities for those students to learn German at your universities? And is it necessary for those students to be fluent in German to potentially find a job afterwards? Or if it would be really required for them to speak fluent German afterwards to be able to find a position? Peter, do you want to start?
I think all of the programs that we introduced, including Katja's programs, they are like a mixture of programs that require some basic German knowledge. We have some programs conducted entirely in English, and we have programs where you need an advanced level of fluency in English and in German. If you register for like a program that's conducted in English, we do want you to take a language class while in Germany. So you can start out with 0 knowledge in German, but we would highly advise you to take a language class that all of our universities offer, because you want to experience the culture and, communicate with folks outside of the university and those who might not be that fluent in English. These language courses are offered throughout the year. There are also summer course offerings, and it's usually free of charge, or the tuition is very, very low for these courses.
Katja, how is it for the LMU and for University of Berlin?
Yeah, exactly. It's similar to what Peter said, that as you know, programs are offered in English, then you don't need to prove your proficiency. But if, of course, German is required, then you have to have a certain level at admission. But for those other programs, you can just learn it by doing on the and actually attending what you said, Peter, attending classes in the afternoon or during the summer maybe. So it's similar to what Peter said. And landing job, it depends. I mean, of course, if you want to work in Germany and it's not a multinational company, then you should know German. That's important. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I have one question from an attendee who was wondering if nursing is considered a humanities field, and if that was even a field you can study in Germany. You could.
Actually, it is a field that you can study at a university of applied science. You cannot easily study it at one of our universities. We do offer health sciences, but it's more academically oriented. But you can. I'd be happy to connect with that person and give him or her like some links to programs at universities of applied science. You can study nursing there.
There's also a website called Make It in Germany, Make-It in Germany, and they have actually, I think, information about nursing and also about jobs in that area, because Germany is actually looking for qualified workers in certain areas, so they are actually setting up these websites with information for international workers.
So that's again Make It in Germany, and you have make then minus it minus Germany.de is the website for that, with also additional information, for example, about visa requirements to work in Germany. So that's a really good resources for those that are studying in the US but are interested in working in Germany. Are there any more questions from the attendees that I can pass on to the presenters right now? As you heard, the contact information is on the slides. You can contact Peter and Katja afterwards as well, but since we're online right now, we have them on the line. Are there any questions? Is there anything that you may want to add that was not in your presentation? Katja, maybe. Is there anything, or Peter?
Yeah, there was some one thing. Of course, we have lots of opportunities, and one thing I have in my longer version is the postdoc fellowship by LMU, for example. If you want to actually go further and stay in academia, and then I have to add, if you of course work in academia, and maybe not in the humanities, but in other areas, then you don't have to know German because many labs are speak English and all that. So it's a mix in Germany with language. You can do both. Yeah.
What I also want to add is that we, Katja and I and our colleagues, organize quite a number of events throughout the country. Some of them focus on graduate programs in Germany. We are doing an event in New York on May 4th, for example. We co-host events such as Career Booster Germany, where we introduce study and internship and work opportunities in Germany, throughout the country, in Boston, San Francisco, all of that. So check out our websites to find out where you might be able to meet us in person and find out about other universities, other potential employers. So I want to encourage you to really attend these events.
I am actually, someone asked me to repeat the website, Make It in Germany. So what I'm going to do is I will actually open it right now, and it's actually .com, not .de. So I have it open now, and if you go to the question box, I will answer this person, and I will send it to all, so you can just copy and paste it. MakeItInGermany.com is the website. So it's in that question box. Feel free to just copy and paste it. Another question now coming from a student: are there any opportunities for PhD candidates in the US to study humanities for 1 year? So this particular person is studying American studies and is looking for an exchange student situation on the graduate level. Is that a possibility at your universities?
Absolutely. We can easily connect that person with, I mean, it kind of depends on the research focus, but we can easily connect that person to our faculty and set up an exchange. I mean, you know, you can apply for DAAD funding. We might have additional funding, a little bit available for that person, but that's possible depending on, you know, the field. But again, reach out to us and we can make it happen.
Yeah, same here. We have both in Berlin and LMU, we have very strong American studies programs. One at FU is at the John F. Kennedy Institute, and in München we also have American history, culture, and studies. So welcome in all of our cities.
And I'm actually
also Hani, just to come back to one question you asked at the beginning of our webinar, one participant was interested in the refugee crisis. Research on it. There actually is a research cluster at one of our three universities on the media coverage of the refugee crisis. It's a project that's funded by the Volkswagen Foundation. So that person should get in touch with me if he or she is interested in that topic, and I can connect him or her to our professors.
Okay, wonderful. So I don't have any more questions from the attendees right now, but again, I would like to invite you to get in touch with me or with Peter or Katja if you have any additional questions. And the email address you will find in Peter's presentation and in Katja's presentation, but also in my general presentation, you will find the contact information. And I will also send a follow-up email, and I will CC both Peter and Katja, so you have their contact information right away and can reach out to them directly. Thank you very much for joining me today, Peter and Katja. Hello to New York from San Francisco, and thank you to all attendees. Again, I will send a follow-up email here very soon, and you will have the recording and also the presentations. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope to see you and hear you sometime soon in the future. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.